The transition from Chaturanga to upward facing dog is one of the most commonly performed sequences in a Vinyasa flow class or in an Ashtanga yoga practice. However, doing it incorrectly can lead to discomfort and even injuries in your shoulders, lower back and your wrists. So follow these 4 easy steps to ensure a smooth, safe and effective transition that will strengthen your practice. But first, why should you listen to me? Well, I've been a yoga teacher for over a decade, guided countless students through their practice. What I'm about to share with you comes from years of experience. So as we consider how to go from plank down to Chaturanga and then up on an inhale into upward facing dog, there's a few things to consider. So the first one is we want to find our perfect plank. So in our plank, we want our hands to be shoulder width apart. We want to lift up and we want our wrists to be underneath our shoulders. Now, if this is too much for us, we can come onto our knees. So from here, I'm going to show you the 4 different ways that we can lower down into Chaturanga. So I'll go with the easiest to the hardest. So the easiest is I bring my knees down and then I just slowly come all the way down. This one is the easiest way. The second, let's say, harder way is, again, I've got my knees down, but this time I'm trying to come down with a little bit of control and I can see if I can hover a little bit. The third way is, if I'm okay to stay up in my plank with my knees up, I'm going to see if I can come slowly, slowly, slowly to the floor and lower all the way down. And you can see each of these become increasingly harder for the arms. So depending on how strong you are in your arms, you'll choose the one that's best for you. And let's say the hardest version is I'm in my plank and from here I lower down into my Chaturanga and I hover here. If you want more tips on lowering into Chaturanga or finding your Chaturanga, check out my video here. But for now, let's say I've lowered down. Now, whether you've come all the way to the floor or whether you're hovering, there's a few now ways of coming up into upward facing dog. So if you're down on the floor, inhale, you can come into a cobra where you've got your hips on the floor, elbows are bent and look forward. And then from here, you bend at the knees and come back into your downward facing dog, whatever version you're doing. Now, that's the lying down version. The hovering version is a slightly more interesting one, and there's a few ways to get into it. There's generally 3 ways to do it with your toes. I'll show you the ways that are quite commonly performed. I'll show you the one that works best for me, and again, just choose whichever one you feel is best for you. So let's say I've come down to hover. Now for some people, they like to flip the feet and then inhale, come up into upward facing dog. That one doesn't work for me. It puts too much strain on my arms. Another way is from your plank, you lower down and then you come up. That one kind of works for me. But the one that works the best for me is if I'm in my plank, I lower down, I send my heels back, and then from there, I come up. Okay, now the harder thing is with those 2 last ones is what happens with the toes. So try to think that you're rolling over your toes. If that's a bit too much for you, choose the flipping one foot and then the other. Otherwise, if you're okay with it, you lower down, I send my heels back, and then I go over the toes and come up into my upward facing dog. So in your upward facing dog, ideally you've got your shoulders over your wrists, send your shoulders back, look forward or slightly up. And then from there, you can either bend the knees and find your downward facing dog, or from here, you go now, you do the opposite. So you go over the toes, sending the hips up and downward facing dog. So let me know which one was best for you. If you want to work more in your Chaturanga, then check this video out here. And I'll see you in the next video. Bye.